Right, well, we'll call this meeting to order this evening for the June 2nd, 2020 BZA hearing. Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I take it you will be speaking this evening.
I will be speaking briefly.
Okay, so I'm going to do the affirmation with you, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Do you raise your hand? Is that we do? Raise your hand, please, sir. Do you sincerely declare and affirm that the testimony you are about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer under penalty of perjury? If so, say, answer, I do.
I do.
Thank you, sir. All right. Go ahead and do the roll call, please.
Have the thing out.
Okay.
Hang on one second. David Stack,
Here.
Brad Warble,
Here.
All right. This evening's case will be the BZA case number 2021004. The owners of the property are Clinton and Heather Goad. The address is 77 North Diamond Mill Road in New Lebanon, Ohio, 45345. The property is located on the west side of North Diamond Mill Road in the north intersection of Eaton Pike. It's parcel number L5302900011. It's approximately 1 acre. The property is zoned R-1. The nature of the appeal this evening is that the building was built without a permit and is not in code as described by the Perry Township zoning codes. I will now take a motion to open this portion of the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Brad?
I'll second it.
David? Would you like to speak in favor of this case, sir?
I do, yes.
You can come up to the podium, please, so we can.
Adam Beyersdorfer, Pickerel, Schaefer, and Ebling, representing Clinton Goad. This is our third time meeting now. And unfortunately, it's in somewhat similar circumstances. Some of it is in control of myself. Some of it is in control of others. With that in mind, when we left last time, the goal was that we would be able to get together, confirm with Montgomery County, make sure that we took care of everything that they needed for their permitting, for their flooding requirements, and that we completed a successful application for Mr. Goad because he had just recently acquired the property wholly in his own person. At that point in time, it made sense to have him be the one who applied for it. With that, we had documents that we had provided that we would be supplementing, and then we had additional documents we were providing at a later time. So much of that was predicated on having a survey that met the requirements of this BZA board, including a survey that had an actual stamp that was located on it, not just the digital copies that we'd received. That appears to be the crux of what our problem has been from the very get-go, has been obtaining a survey that met the requirements of this BZA board, in that every time we've had extensions, it's been for around 3 months, which is very reasonable. However, in our experience of going out trying to find a surveyor who can go out and provide us a survey in that timeline, the usual response is 3 to 4 months before we can get out there and do it, which isn't sufficient time for us in order to be able to get back, provide the survey in time for it. So we had been working with a particular surveying company that said, yes, we can get it done for you. Yes, we can do it. So far, they have failed to provide us the survey that we need to comply with what you guys need. Each time we've tried to go back to get the actual survey that's necessary, we haven't been provided one that we need. We need that survey in order to be able to provide the proper application, both in terms of this BZA and in terms of Montgomery County. Now, we had other discussions there, of course, in regards to other pieces of this, because this is an interesting, complex case there where you have floodplains that are coming into play for it. So there are other things that we need to consider for it. So for example, whether or not this is going to have issues there for flooding there with Montgomery County. In terms of that, I can tell you that on the floodplain applications they have for it, it explicitly provides that in bold font print on their application that if the actual structure or the addition that's being provided is outside of the actual floodplain zone, the floodplain boundary that is, that you basically can skip the rest of it and put your application in for it. In regards to this, our maps that we have printed off from FEMA indicate that the floodplain zone that would be part of that applicable application are not in the same area as where the actual detached garage is going to be. This is a map that shows what the existing structure used to be, which, as we talked about in prior meetings, was a pool. The pool here is this rectangular piece there adjacent to the actual house in front of it. The detached garage that was built on top of that is in that zone. It's clearly out of the floodplain. Ergo, we wouldn't need to go through all the additional steps necessary for the actual floodplain application, which were concerns from our prior meetings in the past. So where we are situated at now is, I know that when we left off, in addition to me getting the documents, several members of the board here talked about the importance of actually going to the location, seeing the actual property, seeing the way that the detached garage is adhered to the concrete pad beneath it, and inspecting it for how the quality of everything is going to fill. To my knowledge, I think one member has gone to it so far, and that was Sherry, actually, as of earlier today, I think around 2:30. I don't know if anyone else has been there formally, perhaps informally, but not to my knowledge that was completed for it. So the short of it is that we need to get a survey completed properly in order to get this completed properly. Obviously, my client isn't made of money. He's a civil servant. The reason why he's not here tonight is because he is meeting with the prosecutor because he's the investigating officer and of a stabbing that involved here in the area. They're doing the process right now to be able to go through tomorrow morning to file the paperwork with the courts. He's not made of money, so he doesn't have the ability to go out and rush a bunch of these surveys. We need the time in order to do that. And what my suggestion, my request would be of the BZA would be for us to confer with a surveyor that has a lot of experience in this area that we know can provide the types of surveys that you guys require and desire, and can do so at a somewhat affordable level and reasonable timeframe. Again, driving around this area, there are all sorts of structures that have been found or that I can see that are garages and pieces in front of the building. I received a call this morning, entirely off guard, of an individual that was paying attention to this case and paying attention to this matter. They've never been in here, but they've obviously followed through it, and they were informing me and taking them at their word that there are a number of individuals in Perry Township that complete additions to their properties, whether it's pools, whether it's garages, or whether it is new businesses that didn't go through the new permitting process either, and that they are still in existence, and some of them within a stone's throw of where my client's property is. With that in mind, I'm not here to ask whether or not those are true or not. I just know that in prior comments that we had in here too, there was a concern for precedence. And if I take this caller's allegations at face value, it seems as if there is a concern about, some of the zoning code regulations not being evenly provided throughout at its least favorable. And at its most favorable, more concerning problems there. But that's for another day and for another matter, but things that I still have to investigate to myself to see if there's any truth to those statements. Again, received that as a call on this morning, so surprised by that. Still trying to take that in, actually. So with that in mind, humbly request the time, meeting with Karen about getting with the surveyor that can provide the survey that this BZA needs for it, because the current one we have is not there. I also imagine there's probably some concessions that need to happen on our end too here for it. With that in mind, and to help ensure that this continues and doesn't have this never-ending path, I'll be bringing in one of the partners of our firm who handles specifically with governmental municipalities, who deals with regulatory zoning codes, to ensure that this is done and handled at all speed for it moving forward. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're okay, sure.
Yeah, I guess short and sweet of it before we let you go, just basically the standstill right now is they haven't been able to find a surveyor. They can do this in diligent time enough to present for the board as far as the survey is concerned. Then also the fact that repeat what your
Happy to.
thoughts are on that.
You don't have to repeat.
I can truncate, no, I won't have to repeat it all, but I'll truncate why that paper's in front of you. And part of the concerns that we had expressed in some of the earlier meetings were that, this property is in a floodplain.
Right.
And there were other concerns about whether that might have a The floodplain application itself references that if any of the stuff is going to be happening outside the floodplain boundary, which is that document in front of you, that you don't actually have to go through the process of having an individual come out there, reference the 100-year base site levels there for it, have to have the professional seals put into it. You can skip through all of that. The picture in front of you features the square where the actual pool used to be, where the garage is built above it. It is outside that boundary zone. It's not applicable for that. And we can actually skip through the rest of that and just simply pay the fee, pay the application amount, sign it, and not have to go through the seal process for it per their guidelines.
Because it's not in that yet.
Because it's out of their guideline, out of their boundaries, it's not an impact there for it. Again, in order to do the application for the county, we have to have that survey there for it, and that's where we hit the bump for it. The survey that we have, they haven't been able to give us one that actually has the seal on it. We went with a group there that offered it faster than anyone else in the area, which wasn't fast still, but we haven't been able to give them the product that we were told we were going to get. And that's now we're at the spot where we're trying to find one who can get it to us.
Okay. Yeah, because I called this place today.
Yeah.
They didn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I might as well call this number just to see if they answer it.
Yeah.
I also was at the property today.
Yes, I did reference that.
Okay.
You were there around 2:30 today.
Yeah, round two, yes. So I was there today and spoke to Mr. Goode and just looked at basically what we would be looking at as well. So, but even though I am like 10 minutes late to the meeting, I did work on this today.
And I know you, again, you look back in the record, I referenced that you actually were there today. I knew that you were there.
So anyway, yeah, so I don't know. This surveyor doesn't have a registration or you don't,
They don't have a licensed engineer, obviously, they can stamp a drawing, is what it is.
is that what the thing, is that what the deal
I
is?
haven't been told that yet.
Oh, okay.
That there's different prices that now has to be paid to be able to get to where they want it at, and that was never agreed to initially from the onset, and so there's this back and forth about what was being delivered and what we got and what we paid for.
Yeah, okay. So if you want one with the seal, you're gonna pay a little more money.
Correct, and then that's
This is
correct, not just a little bit, but
a lot, yeah. Yeah, surveys are not cheap.
And it's even, and of course, the one that we have there, it still didn't have all the details that were asked for from the BZA there too, so it
Mhm,
would just be the stamp. There were other details that need to be flushed out into it.
yeah,
Which is why I was referring that if there are surveyors that this board knows are really good for this area, that it provides really good work, you guys sign off on and agree with, that we'll be happy to talk to them about making it work with them.
I think we discussed that earlier, and Stephen Pope was,
yeah.
has put forth as far as that. He's the person who's before the board many times. And I understand his stuff.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Stephen Pope's done a lot of stuff here.
He's out of Lewisburg.
Okay, thank you.
But to your knowledge, the surveyor went out and actually did.
I'm told that they were there.
Survey on it.
They were there on multiple days and went out and actually surveyed the property itself, and that they were on site. They were moving around because my clients had them there, and
Mhm.
I went, but I live close.
yeah,
I was there when that happened. So I saw
Okay.
the surveyor.
Okay.
I saw, I sure saw a crew at the house. Doing something like in November or something, right? Probably close. It's probably when they were doing the purchase. They were
Yeah.
doing the lines.
and we had other people that went out to the property that we didn't go forward with for the survey aspects that also drove by, and they drove by and did a drive-by looking for it, but they'd actually get on the property there. But this company, they were there.
Yeah, because, I mean, when I was in mortgage lending, we did such a thing as a location survey.
Yeah.
Which would be similar to this. And that's all we really required was that. So, and really, in all actuality, that's truly what we want is, okay, I mean, we want to know that this is the actual location
Yes,
of it. It's just a matter of whether or not they're going to certify that they're the ones that did it.
yeah.
Is the thing. So that surprises me that they wouldn't put their, whoever, put their seal of, we're certified to do this kind of thing.
Yes,
Because it looks valid.
it does. Again, has not been provided yet. And that really, again, it puts us back to the standpoint of you guys don't have all the information that you need to make the proper decision for it. And the frustration of the process of having everyone be here when you can't make the decision on what it's in front of us. Anyways.
Sure. Sure, thanks, Adam. Do we have a motion to close the open portion of the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Do we need to make note that Sherry is here?
I'm here.
I will,
I got here
yeah.
at 7:09.
Who made the motion, Brad? Or David?
Dave.
Okay, and then Sherry Simon. Okay. So. Sherry Simon.
Yes.
Paul Roll. David Steck,
Yes.
Brad Worrell,
Here.
and Mike Brown. Okay.
All right, well, this is the closed portion of the meeting, Adam. I'd like to just take a survey of the board, to kind of get an idea where we all are at, see which direction we can go and where you're feeling. Tonight's board meeting was basically to talk about the fine for the building violation, what would be occurred with that, and then whether or not we could actually do a variance for the property this evening. So it's a survey of where we're at, how we need to go forward in a productive manner. And I'll start with you, Sherry, since you were at the property, unless you want a second to catch your breath.
No, I'm fine. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you what I feel about this case.
Sure.
And I can tell you that I feel obviously we have a person who didn't know that he was supposed to do this. And, you know, you just have all these layers of reasons and things happening and all of that. And, you know, we just keep bouncing this ball. And I mean, that's why obviously I didn't get out there till today, but I think it's in our best interest that we see what's going on these cases and we go out and we look at it and we know what we're truly there to approve or disapprove of. And honestly, I mean, this property, it needs some work. And, you know, he's sort of in a catch where he can't move forward because we haven't, you know, it's just one of those, you know, back and forth, back and forth. And obviously they've been dealing with this for even in more time and like that. But in all actuality, when I'm looking at this building and I'm not looking at the foundation and I'm not looking at what they've done, because I could really care less. Again, it's not our lane. I think we could go in there and say, based on the topography of this ground, this building could not have been put back behind the, you know, it could not have complied with zoning. I mean, because we would have been in a ravine.
Yeah.
And I didn't go back in there. I can tell you that right now. It's all grown up and everything. I did not go over the ravine, but it could not be in the back line of the house. There's no way. Now, could it have been set back a little bit further? Probably. But as I was talking to Mr. Goad and I walking around the thing, really, there's a couple things on this lot. And you're never going to change where the house sets. The house sets within a few inches of the front of this building. I mean, we're talking like splitting hairs here on, he's probably got this front of this building, I would say less than 6 inches or so. It's further forward than the house, if you're looking at it. Is it making a difference? No. Is it a difference than what the pool concrete block wall was? No. So that concrete wall was there all the umpteen years that they had that there, you know. So when I pulled in, because I kind of thought one of the other issues with that was ingress egress, you know, with, is this, you know, going to cause an accident or something like that. Your site down north on Diamond Mill is really good. Actually, if he cleared up his front yard, you know, that's more of an eyesore than north. If you're standing in front of the building and you look north, you have a sight line good. It's really good. If you look this way, he needs to try his trees and some of his stuff in his front yard as far as that goes. So I don't view that. That's no different than what it was, you know, at one time. And what I was telling him when I walked around there was, I was like, well, you know, what's in this area to the north of the building? And it's also low ground. I mean, it drops off. And I said, well, I could see in the future, that could be filled. And you could also, you've left enough room behind the back of the barn and where that ravine goes off to the creek to actually better that property in providing like a drive around, where you could go in and actually be pointing out. Do you know what I'm talking about? If you've been there?
Yes.
Okay, so like if he were to finish that and get it, it could be made actually better, manageable for ingress and egress, in my opinion. Now, of course, everything takes money. And we don't know if he would ever do anything like that, but it's a possibility of that. And he did indicate that, everything is being, with, obviously, he's not complied, he's not responded. All of that is a big aggravation, I think, too. But I think he's just in a situation where, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do next because I'm just waiting for the decision on this. And obviously that has to happen before the ball can roll forward to Montgomery County. And then that's their thing to come out and say, oh, well, we don't like the fill, we don't like the foundation, we don't like what you did with the building or whatever. That's all them. That's not us, in my opinion. So, honestly, after looking through everything, and that's a part of why I'm actually late here, because I was reading some more of this stuff before I actually left, and I was like, oh my God. So anyway, honestly, sitting here tonight, if this survey would have a seal on it, I would be inclined to get this approved based on where he has it set. Now, if we were going back to the original time when nothing happened, would I say make sure it sets in line with your house? Sure, I would. But is it worth us saying, oh no, we're not going to prove that because it's about 6 inches closer than it really should, and that kind of thing. I think then we are just starting to, I don't want this. I don't want to keep coming back to meetings on the same thing. It needs to be put to bed. I think that's my opinion. So, and then the other aspect of this meeting is the fees. I don't think I don't know. And I even got my zoning book out. I'm not sure the board is the one who makes the decision on the fees. I mean, we interpret the zoning text and we approve variances and conditional use, but I'm not sure. And again, I kind of leafed through that too this afternoon just to say is like, once again, are we still in our lane? Is that not the lane of the administrator and the trustees to decide fee of application? So that being said, me as a citizen, I'm going to tell you this. I would rather see him have money to put in this property. Do I think he should be feed? I do. Do I think he should be feed out to the nth degree of what we could possibly maybe up to collect? No, I do not. I do not. Because one, you're never going to collect it. It's going to be a continual, you've got to take them to court. You got to do this. So when are we doing? We're still bouncing this ball again, bouncing it. You're not going to get any, in my opinion, I'm not an attorney, but I think you would have to continue with a court proceeding before you could ever get any kind of judgment lien on that property, which I think, is something that, there may be thoughts out there, but you can't do that without legal more bouncing the ball and not letting this thing come to a end and something amicable here.
So am I hearing you that if we would have a set of stamp drawings and you would be more inclined to move forward?
Yep, I sure would.
All right.
I was hoping that, and I truly, that is why I made that. I thought if there's anything I could do today to talk to these people to say, hey, can you just get us a stamp? Can you get us something that says
we all require everything?
Yeah. Can you just get us something that says you're certified to have made this drawing? And that, that kind of thing. And like I say, truly, I'm not looking for a pinned and stake survey that costs you thousands of dollars to have done. I mean, back in the day, and I'm sure those prices have gone up, but I mean, a location survey was typically, a few $100s.
Correct.
But when you get into pendant stake surveys, I mean, you are talking a lot of money. And I don't, once again, if he were to have a few $1,000s, I'd sure like to see him put that in that property, cleaning it up, getting things, maybe the way he wants it. And he talked today about, doing this and doing that, but yet he isn't. Now, whether he will, I mean, we have history of him not doing what he says. So I don't know, but that's just sort of where I'm at on that.
Thank you, Sherry. David?
One is a tough one. And I go back to what started this whole thing. And this has been quite a while ago, as y'all know. And
It's actually, November 6th of 2020.
and it's gone on, it's gone on, it's gone on. The county found that this property was built and they started assessing fines and so forth and so on. And then, all of a sudden, we're going to have to do a variance on this. And to me, just me maybe, but this was not right from the get-go. And it should have been through the proper channels. Now, it wasn't, we all know that. But my concern is the precedent going forward. If this one goes, what about the next one, the next one? And at some point in time, there's got to be a precedent. I think that this board has certain things that they need to do, have to do based on what we're designed to do. And if we denied this or we didn't deny it, it's still not done. And I keep looking down the sides of what's coming. Okay, what's the next one, the next one, the next one? And somebody says, well, I'm not going to get a permit. I don't want to spend that money. I'll take my chances, Well, what do you do that time and the next time? So I guess thinking out loud, that's where I'm coming from on it. I'm not in favor of it because of how it was handled from the get-go.
Brad?
I'm kind of in line with Sherry. I mean, knowing, I drive past there every day and I know that lot is very thin. I don't think you could go back, and the 6 inches is not going to make any difference to me. In the foundation, that's not even our department. We're here for the variance. If Mr. Goode would have come to us with the correct plans and stuff, I think we probably would have given him the variance. I would, and not knowing for sure what our capabilities are as far as fines or fees or anything, I would like to recapture the cost of being here now for the 4th time and all the letters that are sent out. I mean, it's cost the township, well, there's a list there of what our costs are. To me, that should be a minimum, but there again, not knowing exactly how far we can take things. I mean, I think if we give a variance, that it should be conditional on him paying the cost of to date of what, that's not counting our time, but it's just counting the actual mailing fees and so forth.
Right. Karen, can we have your opinion as your condensed milk version?
Yeah, I mean,
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
All right. So if we gave you, Adam, 90 days, would that be sufficient to get everything together in order for you and give your client time to pursue the proper stamp for these drawings that we've been asking about?
In the past, I said yes, and I greatly misunderstood how backlogged some of them were. Now, though, I think yes.
Okay, let's
No,
hopefully Mr. Pope will be accommodating with you.
Correct.
Okay.
I can definitely echo.
Do you, I guess my question to you is, do you agree that's a great starting point to start at?
I think it is.
All right, okay. One other thing. Our township was a zone township. When did we become zoned? In 1970?
70,
So there are buildings that were put in these places prior to this board being in place.
Yes.
And the reason this board is in place, I know I'm just repeating myself to you, but I want to make sure this is on our camera for our guests this evening, is because we are here to protect the township and we're here to protect our residents. And we're here to help each resident be successful and have a beautiful home in this township. And we're not here to be deniers or sort things out by any other causes. And we don't hold any other case that's been brought before us to the same light that we bring each case individually, basically is what I'm saying. So we're not going to cookie cutter anything. And there are things that we've made as far as decisions around the whole township that have been not according to this, but that's why we're sitting here. And as long as the township has a zoning commission and the BZA, we're going to continue to allow this book to be moved. We can bend rules, we just can't break them, is what one of our old colleagues used to say. So that said, I guess there's no reason to go forward with anything else, unfortunately. And to be fair to our client and to be fair to my board, to make sure that we don't step outside our boundaries. And I'll make a concerted effort with Karen to pin our attorneys down and get some definite answers to what we can and we cannot do. Because I know there isn't precedence for this, because I asked my father about it. And anyway, there was nothing he could refer to. So I guess I would be interested to entertain an order that would allow Mr. Goode another 90 days, which would take us to September meeting, to get a stamped set of drawings, and for me and Karen to get with the attorney's office and get clarification on our positions.
I would move that. We table it is what you want
Yes,
to
we're
do.
gonna
is
table it.
For a period up to 90 days. And then if you're lucky with the surveyor and you get something sooner, I mean, you can contact Karen and
Yes.
get that moving. But yeah, for it not to exceed 90 days, since this is all we're really waiting on.
Right. All right, I'd like to make a motion to provide Mr. Goode another 90 days to provide stamped engineered drawings for his residents and for the questions that we've asked for to be addressed and to bring back and forth to the board. Do I hear anyone forward that motion?
I would.
Sherry?
I'll second it.
Brad? All right. Motion shall be passed. Go ahead and take roll on that.
Brad Mormel,
Yes.
Sherry Simon,
Yes.
David Stack,
Yes.
and Mike Brown.
Yes. Right. Other than going through the minutes, you don't have to stay for that if you don't want to. All right, it's been brought to our attention that we have a few sets of minutes that have not been voted on. The first set was for December 2nd, 2021 at the 7 PM meeting. It was for the case of Jason and Katie Ballin, 2021006. I went through the meeting notes, found a few corrections that I'm passing on to Karen, but other than the minor spelling errors and a few punctuation errors, do I hear?
I would agree. That's all I seen too.
So all those in favor of accepting the December 2nd, 2021 meeting, say aye. Aye. All those not in favor, say aye. Those minutes shall be passed. Next up are BZA meeting minutes from March 3rd, 2022 at 7 PM. That was the BZA case 2021004 of Heather and Clinton Goode. I did not find any spelling or punctuation errors in this set of minutes. Did anyone else happen to find any to bring to Karen's attention?
don't think I did either.
All right. So all those in favor of accepting the March 3rd, 2022 minutes, say aye. Aye. All those not in favor, please say aye. So those minutes shall be approved. Last but not least, we have the meeting minutes from April 7th, 2022 at 7 PM, which was the BZA case of 2022-001. And BZA case 2022-002. I went through both of those cases. I did not find any spelling or punctuation marks in either one of the, or errors in either one of those documents. Anyone else find any corrections or errors that need to be addressed?
Yeah, no.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting the April 7th, 2022 minutes, I'll say aye. Aye. All those against, say aye. The minutes for April 7th, 2022 shall be approved. All right, so I don't have any other information or anything to pass on. I wish I had good news for everybody, but I don't. That we can put this to bed. Sorry, David. But I will take a motion to close this meeting.
I'll make the motion to close.
Mr. Warble, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sherry, second. Motion carried. Meeting is now closed.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.